Peggy Mitchell set to return to EastEnders. Not Barbara Windsor. I should just put it out there. Not Barbara Windsor. Young Peggy Mitchell from 1985 is set to return with young Phil, young Grant, young Nigel, and Eric.
And Eric.
And Eric.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're wondering, this is EastEnders has announced this. We've always wondered how Peggy Mitchell will be in the 40th, because I've been saying that I would love Peggy to appear in a flashback, or you hear Barbara Windsor's voice, or you somehow just get an old footage of Barbara Windsor's Peggy Mitchell, and you just slap her there in in a silhouette, essentially.
And doing that is such an odd thing to be able to do, because first, whatever you need to do, usually, let's be honest, when they bring back someone who has unfortunately passed on, usually they do it in a really dodgy way that doesn't really fit. Like, hey, in Fast and Furious, where where the Paul Walker died, and then they went, yeah, we're gonna use his brother, and we're gonna make his face on it. It's like, what? Why, guys? Why are you doing this?
Ash, don't worry, he's returning in Fast 10 Part 2.
And like in Halloween 2018, where it was supposed to be 40 years on from Halloween, but they still wanted Donald Pleasance, who played Sam Loomis, who, he's the guy who follows Michael around and does all the really cool like monologue, like he's gone, I shot him 5 times, and obviously they do that. But for the Halloween 2018, they got a really bad impressionist to do his voice, and it's like, oh, what are you doing, guys? So with them bringing back young Peggy Mitchell, and this being Jamie Winstone, who also played Peggy in the... I mean, first, all the actors are back from the previous episode set in the 80s. I doubt Billy's going to be there. Doubt Billy's going to be there. But yeah, as we said before, Eric, Peggy, Grant, Phil, and now Nigel is going to be a new addition to this. So they are, once again, it's nice that they didn't just rehash the cat. They didn't recast anyone. Mostly because they were all spot on. They're all perfectly cast as well. Especially the guy who plays Phil. Poor guy. He looks like Phil so much. But even then, derailed my point. Obviously, you can't really just have a voice play. You don't just... obviously, we had a little callback with Nicola with a crowbar saying, "Get out my club." Nice little throwback in a sense. But you can't do it in a genuine way. So they figured out the best way. And this ahead of Phil's, they've mentioned that Phil is going to be struggling mentally, and he's going to kind of, not necessarily go to the edge of psychosis, but he's still going to be losing his mind, and he's going to start hallucinating. Now that's a really interesting way to see how they're going to do. This is how you bring back Peggy. This is how you break through Phil's past as to why he could never tell anyone. Because, I mean, and this isn't entirely about this, but still in the same vein, it's still interesting how even Peggy was never really good at getting through to Phil. Even when Phil was struggling, Peggy would kind of be like, "Yeah, well, think about the Mitchell name, Phil. You're messing up the Mitchells." It's like, Peggy, I'm struggling here. Can you just come for me? No. Think about the Mitchell name. You're not going to let somebody screw over a Mitchell Ives. Peggy, please. I'm crying my eyes out, please. And that's kind of that's the issue that Phil has had, and I think that's probably what'll be a bit more addressed. But it's just interesting. I'm really excited to see this.
Mm-hmm. I just want to say, people really want a spin-off of the Young Mitchells. Would you?
It would be great.
Would you watch it?
I don't know. I don't know. No, I would watch it, obviously, but I don't know what form it would be in, right? You're not just creating EastEnders 2.0, but set in the 80s. That's just... They've done it before. There's no point. So, I don't know what form it would take, but I will always enjoy when they do these episodes because the cast was great and the direction's great, and it was just really interesting. But I don't know what people would want. It's not just going to become EastEnders 2.0. We're not just going to start spoofing the 80s in 2025. Like,
we're gonna repeat just gonna repeat it, and we're gonna have we're gonna have cameos like in the Avengers, where it's gonna be like, here's Pat Butcher but younger. Oh, here's Den Watts but younger. Look at that.
oh yeah. And the other thing that's interesting as well is now they did the really smart thing. Well, they started to film this documentary, right? They started filming the documentary hosted by Ross Kemp, but it's also an excuse to get some of the old cast back. And obviously, some stuff you can't really do. Like, you can't bring back Pat, you can't bring back Angie, but you can have these names somewhat appear if the time fit. And it's a way that you can kind of, any returns that you expect are going to happen, you can say, oh, they're returning for this documentary, guy. Like how we got the news that Ross Kemp was doing the documentary, like a month ahead of his actual return news. So, like, there is a way that you can get these older characters in on the action, because it's the perfect excuse. You're inviting them back to film the documentary. Maybe they have a line or two, maybe. I don't know. It's something that it's a really cool way that they've set this up, I think.
And I guess without further ado, I will read the article if you're alright.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just going to put here because the notice here, and I can say it because we're 6 minutes in. This article contains discussion of themes including depression and suicide. So yeah, EastEnders has announced 4 returning cast members in filmmakers' ongoing mental health storyline. Phil has become increasingly lonely over the last few months. Just making sure I change the title. And upcoming scenes will see him attempt to take his own life. Now it has been revealed that Phil's psyche deteriorates, and he will hallucinate a scenario from 1985 featuring a younger version of himself and other famous EastEnders characters. There's Peggy Mitchell. Look at her. Returning for these scenes are Jamie Winstone as Peggy, George Russo as Eric, Teddy J as Grant. His name can't be fucking Teddy J. Teddy J is your name.
Yeah.
Fuck off. As Grant, and Daniel Denley as Phil. Delaney. They all played these roles in a flashback episode from 2022. While Winstone played Peggy, actor Barbara Windsor in the biopic Babs as well. Oh, there's a biopic about Babs.
Yeah.
Did not know that. These scenes will also.
I mean, it's like sometimes they do this stuff for actors. They did one for bollocks. What's her name? They did some. Usually like soaps related. They did one for someone from Crossroads. I think I forgot a name. They did one for Tony Warren, who made Corrie. They love to do a biopic about these long-standing soap stars or creators.
These scenes will also see Sam Miles debut as a younger version of Nigel Bates. Bates, who recently...
You said it right the first time.
Bates, who recently returned to the soap in the present day. It was such
Noelle Gordon as well. Sorry, there we are. That was...
It was such an honour to be welcomed back to play Peggy Mitchell. She is a dream role for me, Winstone said, so to be able to contribute to this iconic family and this major storyline has been such a joyous and emotional journey. I truly hope I've done her justice. Thank you to all the EastEnders family. This has been such a wonderful experience. Executive producer Chris Crenshaw added, we are thrilled to welcome back the young Mitchells for these special scenes as we lead up to our 40th anniversary week. And she really does look like Peggy Mitchell. Jesus.
But I will say that picture's very funny, but it's just because of how it's shot and how much they're trying to create the difference between the 80s and now. Because you have Phil in his leather jacket, just like leaning in, which I'm sure he was actually there, but it looks like he's photoshopped in.
It does, it does.
Just because the grainy camera, the less high definition for it, it looks very just the juxtaposition. The framing, just funny, yeah.
In 2022, fans and critics alike celebrated Jamie's portrayal of Peggy, and with Phil's story, this feels like the perfect time Ford reprised the iconic role, joined once again by George, Daniel, Teddy, and now Sam as a young Nigel. Flashbacks like these give
Sam Sam's back, guys.
Whoa.
Sam's back.
Uh,
No, Sam who's playing Nigel.
Flashbacks like these give the audience a unique opportunity to better understand Phil's mindset and the traumatic events that have led him to his mental health crisis. Meanwhile, Ross Kemp will be back as Grant for upcoming scenes set to air as part of the 40th anniversary, if you didn't know.
He's not doing any live stuff, is he? Grant's not doing anything live.
He's probably
He
not.
recorded his scenes in 2 days as he did the documentary, and it's going to be played at the 40th. He's not doing anything live. Hello, I'm Grant. Hello, Grant. Hello, Phil. All right.
It's like that.
Line. Sorry, can we reshoot that? Grant, we're live. Oh, shit.
So
I don't know. I think my final bit about this though is, let's be honest, Phil was raised in the toxic masculinity, don't show your feelings, right? And Eric, instead of any time there was any outburst, he'd just go for the belt rather than going to talk or to discuss things. Violence was the way, and obviously Phil being old now, can't exactly go straight to violence anymore. You can't just you can't do the George and just go beat up some knobhead. He's too old for that. So with all that, he would usually somewhat share his issues with his partners, but he's not been emotionally available enough to actually get or have the energy to try build a relationship with anyone. So yeah, it's that'll mostly just be it, right? That's what I'd imagine a flashback is. It'll probably be a big milestone. It'll probably be like a big event where Phil wants something and he doesn't get it and he's sad, but he doesn't know how to react. And then Eric thinks he's being a knobhead, so he's like, "Well, see you, Phil." And it just goes from there. But yeah, I don't know what else. I can just wrap round. But anything else before?
No. I really want a photo of all the young cast with the old cast. Obviously, excluding Peggy Mitchell, excluding Barbara Winston.
Yeah.
But Grant with Grant, Phil with Phil, Nigel with Nigel, Sam with Sam.
That would be cool. Never going to happen, Nicholas.
No,
Ross Kemp's got too much. He doesn't get paid enough for that.
Well, you never know. He might. You know, he might be behind the scenes directing how Grant be portrayed. See, if I was playing Grant, it wouldn't be like that, would it? I'd do it differently, mate. Okay, but you are playing modern Grant. Fuck off. But yeah, continue
on. No, just finally to wrap it back around. It's looking good. It's looking really interesting. You know how we've been. Well, at least I've definitely been pasting Chris Clenshaw a little bit lately with some of the decisions ahead of the 40th, but with stuff like this announced and stuff like this to look forward to, probably not much to be worried about in terms of the anniversary. It's just we do have the bloat that is the Sonny and Reese stuff, unfortunately. But other than that, there's a lot of exciting stuff heading into the 40th. And honestly, it sucks. It sucks in a way because we can't get more of this at all. We can't. Because you can't just have 85 Phil concurrently with modern day. It's just not. You can only do it for these select times. So it's one of these really good things where we love it, and I'd happily watch more. But is there any world where it can really happen? Not really. But it means we all look forward to it nonetheless. And yeah, just generally, that episode's probably one of my favorite episodes ever. It's just a really well done, smartly written, well casted piece of EastEnders media. And if anybody hasn't watched it, you should go ahead and watch it.
Yeah, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.